Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Paris. It's a two-day visit for the Prime Minister in France, and the French are rolling out the red carpet for the Indian Prime Minister. He just about landed a short while ago. He is now in his hotel, but the streets were lined up with the diaspora that was waiting eagerly to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister. Remember, there is the big Diaspora Connect, the event that's going to take place at about 11 p.m. Indian Standard Time, when the Prime Minister is going to be addressing a gathering of expats that are living in Paris. Remember, now these are not just people that are in Paris that have come to see the Prime Minister. They've come from different parts of France. That is the big focus today. But as far as the France trip goes, the big focus for the Prime Minister is going to be defense cooperation and strengthening that cooperation. Several deals are on the anvil, which will be signed when the bilateral takes place with French President Emmanuel Macron. Let's take a look at some of the reactions that have come in through the day as far as the excitement, the mood on ground in Paris is concerned.
सबसे पहले मैं यही बताना चाहूँगा कि हमारे लिए बहुत ही गौरव का विषय है कि हम रफाल्स को फिर से फ्रांस लेकर आए हैं, जो कि ऑलरेडी इसकी कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन है। और यहाँ पर हम हमारे ही प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो कि गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर होंगे बास्टिल डे परेड में, उनकी प्रेजेंस में जो बास्टिल डे का प्रेस्टिजियस बहुत ही एलैबोरेट फ्लाई पास्ट होता है, उसके ऑलमोस्ट ओपनिंग फॉर्मेशंस में हैं। और हमारे लिए सच में काफ़ी गौरव का विषय है।
हमारे लिए बहुत ही प्रेस्टिजियस इशू है। इतने दूर हम आए हैं, क्लोज टू 4,500 माइल्स हम फ्लाई करके आए हैं। हमारे एयरक्राफ्ट बिना लैंडिंग बीच में करके एयर टू एयर रिफ्यूलिंग करके आए हैं। ऑलमोस्ट 10 आवर्स हमने फ्लाई किया है कंटिन्यूअसली फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम ever that any aircraft has flown so long from India.
It is a moment of tremendous pride for us, since we'll be representing our country as well as our force on foreign land in front of our own Prime Minister, who will be witnessing the parade. And also, since we'll be leading the contingent, we have this extra thrill, and we have the we'll be setting the bar, so we'll be so happy about being the part of French National Day.
CNN News 18 is on ground in Paris, tracking every single development of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. My colleague Sanjay Suri is right outside the hotel where the Prime Minister is staying, where he's just about reached. A quick breather for the Prime Minister, so to say, before his first engagement for the day today, which is going to be a meeting with the President of the Senate. Sanjay Suri joining us live, getting us more details of the mood on ground. Sanjay, are the diaspora members still there outside the hotel even after the Prime Minister has gone in?
Yes, right here, and we have a wonderful lady who's been living in Paris for 40 years.
In France.
In France?
Yes.
Right. And you're not in Paris, but
I'm in Nantes.
All right. And what brought you here, the Prime Minister?
I came, as most people do, after my wedding. I am the first Indian lady to receive the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman in 2019 for both academics and arts. I'm extremely honored for this award, and I've been conducting dance shows. I have an institute called Bindi. I promote Indian culture for the past 40 years.
Do you find that the position of Indians has gone up in the perception of the French through these 40 years?
Absolutely. When I came in the 80s, India was part of the Indian subcontinent and one of the colonies they would talk about. Not many people knew India, and it was seen with the cliche, like with the elephants, serpents, Maharajas. But today we know the real Indian qualities and skills have been recognized, and I'm extremely honored and happy to note that this year India is a country of honor.
Right. Tell us, and do you live in Paris?
I do not. I'm going to live in Paris soon. I was born and brought up here in France, and I'm really happy to see Modi and see the way he has evolved this relationship between France and India, and to see now all my colleagues, my friends know about India way more, and this is really something that I'm proud of.
You were born in France, you were born French, you are a French citizen. Indeed. Why is India important to you?
Because I think it's really important to actually stay close to your origins. After all, I have the luck to have two origins, double the richness of two different countries. I'm taking the best of both worlds, and I'm really happy here to represent my Indian side. And I'm really liking what Modi is doing, because it's actually helping us the diaspora, linking both sides of both origins.
And Dishant is my son. He's the proof of the effect of the change in the movement and the regard for India. And when you mix the two cultures, I think nothing can separate them.
So it's not just Mother India, but Mother has something to do with this.
Yes, of course.
A lot, actually.
Right. So you can see the level of enthusiasm that we find among Indians living in France over this visit of the Prime Minister.
And we are going to be seeing that excitement and that mood on ground there trickle a few hours later down as well when the big Diaspora Connect happens for the Prime Minister. But it is not just about the cultural connect, it's a lot about business. And the Prime Minister is going to do all of that when he sits down with the CEOs in France, when he sits down with President Emmanuel Macron as well. Now, before he left for France today, in a rare interview to a French newspaper, the Prime Minister had multiple things to speak of. He spoke about India being the leader, the bridge between the global south and the global north. He spoke about India's rightful position. Let me take you through a few of the excerpts as far as what the Prime Minister in his interview to this French newspaper spoke about. He said that India shows harmony amid diversity, which is the essence of what India really stands for. We're working towards building a cohesive world, and India is taking a lead in that. We're advancing global peace and prosperity. It's about India's rightful position, and why India has that rightful position now in the world is what the Prime Minister was explaining. India is a force of good, is of the entire globe, is what the Prime Minister is talking about as far as why India has now emerged as a leader for the world to follow. That's something that the Prime Minister spoke of. India is indispensable for global unity. India is very, very important, and in the larger scheme of things, India is going to be playing the role of a bridge, of a link between the two worlds. That's something the Prime Minister has made very, very clear in this particular interview. The Prime Minister has also spoken of multiple things as far as cooperation between India and France is concerned, as far as the global south is concerned. Also something about the 2047 vision for India. Remember, it is going to be 100 years of free India. What does that vision mean for India, and what does that mean for the world is also something that the Prime Minister spoke of in this interview. A developed India is catering to the health of infra needs for the world is what the Prime Minister spoke of. India is going to be a global leader in tech and innovation. That's the plan, that's the roadmap for 2047 that the Prime Minister has laid out. Indian economy is going to be a hub of opportunities. Opportunities not just for Indians to grow in, but also for the world to look at India as the ultimate hub as far as investment goes, as far as opportunities go, in so far as tech is concerned, or so far as innovation is concerned. India is going to be an engine for global South's talent. So this is not just about being a leader or a bridge, but it's also about being a hub for the world to look at India as a leader as far as innovation and investment goes. It helps advance a multipolar world that is based on multilateralism. That is what India wants to do as far as the 100-year plan of free India goes. That's the vision that the Prime Minister has had, and that is something that he spoke of during this rare interview. The Prime Minister then also spoke about what it is as far as Indo-Pacific security goes, as far as this area goes. Now remember, France is one of the oldest allies in the West for India. 25 years of partnership, 25 more years to go, and that is something that we'll focus on during this visit is what the Prime Minister spoke of. India and France engagement is deep. It's deep-rooted. It's 25 years old, but it's 25 years young as well. We have a lot more to do, is what the Prime Minister has been talking about as well. Free, open, inclusive Indo-Pacific is extremely important. That is key, and that is something that the Prime Minister has laid emphasis on. Sovereignty and international law must be respected. This again is in terms of the kind of aggression that we've seen from both our western and the eastern frontier, a signaling of what's to come as far as the security of the region goes. India takes that very, very seriously, and our allies must do that as well, is the message the Prime Minister is sending. A lasting regional peace is extremely important. It's not important just for India. It's important for the entire Indo-Pacific region. It's important for the entire world as well. That's something that the Prime Minister is talking about. All of this will come up when the Prime Minister sits down with his counterpart in France, in Paris, in a short while from now, and of course with President Macron tomorrow. Ashok Sajanhar, former diplomat, joining us on this broadcast from a perspective. Thank you so much for speaking with us, sir, here on CNN News 18. How do you look at the significance of this two-day visit? There's a lot on agenda as far as India and France is concerned. Defense, trade, all of that is going to be in focus. But as far as relationship between the two countries go, the Prime Minister said But 25-year-old allies, but we have the next 25 years to look forward to.
Absolutely, you're very right, Poonam, when you say this, because, you know, all that you read out, all that the Prime Minister has said to the French newspaper, these are all very, very important. So I think as far as the relationship is concerned, you know, it is truly notable that Prime Minister is traveling to France as the chief guest for the National Day, for the Bastille Day, but also to mark the 25 years of the strategic partnership between the two countries. And this has been a phenomenal partnership because, you know, what we are going to be able to see tomorrow, our own contingent marching. So in terms of optics, there's going to be, you know, very, very symbolically, it will send out its own message about the very close ties between the two countries. And in terms of substance also, you know, if you look at the strategic content of the partnership, both India and France, they are, you know, working towards a multipolar world. Both of them are major, important middle power, above middle power countries. They're working together for a multipolar world. Both of them are looking for strategic autonomy in whatever they do. India has demonstrated it, so has France. So there, in terms of their world outlook, worldview, it is very, very identical. It really converges. And then in terms of the bilateral partnership, you know, there is a triad on which they have been working. Defense, of course, is extremely important. So also is space, and so also is nuclear energy. Now, nuclear energy, it has not worked out so far, but I do expect that this will be an important element. Then also on the issue of terrorism, you would have seen that, you know, whenever China has tried to put obstacles, hurdles on designation of international terrorists, France has always been the first one to come and sort of, you know, take the issue forward.
Absolutely, and not just on that, as far as India being a permanent member of the UNSC as well, that bid is also something that France has vehemently defended India on. Of course.
Yes.
Of course, so it's taking those aspects forward and strengthening that relationship, which is going to be in focus for the next 48 hours for the Prime Minister. Ashok Sajjanhar, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18 and sharing your perspective. We are, though, shifting focus now to the big story that we've been tracking on CNN News 18 all through the day, and that involves the national capital. It involves Delhi, because even though it hasn't rained for the last 24 or more hours, unfortunately, parts of Delhi are still inundated. There is power cuts that's being witnessed. There's waterlogging in multiple parts. Traffic snarls, especially at peak office hours, are witnessed in different parts of the city. Why is that happening? It's because River Yamuna is way past its danger mark. The levels are only increasing. There is no way for this water that is inundating these areas in the city for it to go anywhere. That's the real big issue right now. What is the solution? When is the respite going to come in? That's the question every Delhiite is asking today. CNN News 18 is reporting from on ground from these areas and what the situation there looks like. Take a look.
Now we can officially say that Delhi has been flooded. And I'm coming to you from near the Red Fort area, and in fact, in particular, this is the backside of Red Fort area, and this is in particular near the Kashmiri Gate area, where there is the famous Hanuman temple. The Yamuna river is actually nearby from this very spot, and the visuals only tell you the real story, how bad the situation is. The absolute sad state of affairs here in the national capital. Now the water level of Yamuna stands at the all-time high levels which the city has witnessed in last 45 years. Right now the level stands close to 209 meters, which means that the problems are only mounting for both the localite living in the low catchment areas and also for the authorities. In fact, this very visuals get you the real picture of Delhi as to what the national capital is witnessing right now. This absolute flow of water is in fact very high. The water levels are continuously rising. In fact, there is no breather which has been given to the people of the national capital. The water levels in this at this particular morning was somewhere around 207 meters, but in fact now the water level stands close to 209 meters. There is a political slugfest on the other hand, where the Aam Aadmi Party and the Haryana government are at loggerheads, where the state government says that this is this is a man-made calamity, but there is a contribution of some elements, if we can say, because the water is being continuously dispensed from the Hathni Kunj barrage, because of which the water levels are rising here in the national capital. In the last 48 hours, Delhi has witnessed almost no rains, and the IMD had maintained the same thing, though IMD had said that tomorrow, which is the 14th of this month, Delhi could witness some rainfall scattered in nature in certain parts of the national capital. And in case if rains happen, there will be a double whammy for the people of the national capital, because already the water levels are very high in the upper catchment areas, and in case Delhi receives rainfall, the condition will further deteriorate. Though there are a lot of speculations that around evening the water levels will start to subside, as been said by the Chief Minister of the national capital, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. Though what is happening on ground is totally different. This is one of the areas which is worst affected, and in fact near from this very spot there is the Yamuna Bazaar area, which is also equally affected. There are other areas as well. North Delhi, in particular Northeast Delhi, remains to be one of the worst affected. Then also Civil Lines is also one of this area which is being badly hit by these floods. And in fact these are no flash floods. The water level rose perpetually and in fact steadily and slowly, and now the water level somewhere stands at, you can see at this very point the water is almost waist till my waist. So you can only imagine the kind of conditions which are prevailing here in the national capital. Now the aftermath is also very important to look at, because yes, this water will subside, yes, the situation will be normal in some time, not today, probably in coming days it will be normal, but what happens?
इस समय नोएडा के डूब क्षेत्र में मौजूद है और आप तस्वीरें देखेंगे, चारों तरफ पानी ही भरा हुआ है। जिस तरीके से 45 वर्ष बाद तमाम रिकॉर्ड टूटे हैं और यमुना का जलस्तर बढ़ा है, उसके बाद से ये स्थिति देखने को मिल रही है कि नोएडा में पहली बार डूब क्षेत्र में इस कदर पानी भर गया है कि लोगों को रेस्क्यू करना पड़ रहा है। आपको बता दें, इस समय वाटर बोट में मौजूद है और लोगों को रेस्क्यू करने का काम किया जा रहा है। हमारे साथ डीसीपी हैं नोएडा जोन 1 के हरिश्चंद्र, उनसे सीधे बातचीत करते हैं। सर, खुद रेस्क्यू आप क्लोजली मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं, क्या स्थिति है अभी, क्योंकि जलभराव जो है वो ज्यादा हो गया है?
ये कल शाम से बल्कि जो है वो हम लोगों ने काफ़ी गौवंश को रेस्क्यू किया था। पानी जो है वो बढ़ रहा था, उसके बाद रात में थोड़ा पानी बढ़ा है और अर्ली मॉर्निंग में जो है आज सुबह से NDRF की टीम लगी हुई है। लगभग 20 से ज़्यादा लोगों को अब तक रेस्क्यू कर लिया है, जो डिफरेंट फार्म हाउसेज और जो कच्चे घर हैं वहाँ पर रह रहे थे, और अभी फिर से जो है वो टीम निकली हुई है। सभी लोगों को रेस्क्यू किया जा रहा है, क्योंकि ये बिल्कुल यमुना जी के बगल वाला एरिया है और यहाँ पे लगभग 30-40 साल से कभी इस तरह का चीज़ नहीं देखी गई है, तो इस वजह से पानी थोड़ा बढ़ रहा है, बट हम लोग लगे हुए हैं, रेस्क्यू कर रहे हैं सब।
The situation in the national capital is deteriorating by every passing minute. Currently, I am reporting from the Delhi Secretariat, where the entire Delhi government functions from. And this is a situation that has developed over here. There is massive flooding that has happened out here in this entire area. In fact, this bus that you see in your frames right now just got stuck over here just a few minutes ago, as the bus was trying to cross this area and was trying to make its way from the ITO towards the Delhi Secretariat, and it got stuck in this water. Now, if you could see in the visuals over here, the water level is at least 2 feet, probably more than 2.5 feet that has gathered over here, and it's increasing by every passing minute. I've been standing over here for the last 15 to 20 minutes, and definitely there has been a very significant rise in the water levels that has happened over here. Now it remains to be seen as to how quickly can the situation finally get under control by the Delhi administration.
Now you can see that after a very long time there is this particular tractor which is now approaching towards this particular place, although we have been given to understand that there are surrounded places which have not been allowed by the Delhi police. There is barricading on 2 sides of the road, so it has become inaccessible. There is water all around, but this is the something picture which is coming in. This is what we can say, that these people are braving this particular situation in the national capital Delhi, and we are going to try to talk to them. There are so many people. अरे भैया रुक जाइए, इतना मेहनत करके आप आ रहे हैं, हिम्मत कैसे हो रही है इतना आने की? डर नहीं लगा?
अब 1000 आदमी बच जाए तो बढ़िया है, हम तो अपने लिए।
तो आप कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? पीछे से?
हम आ रहे हैं वहाँ से हनुमान मंदिर से।
हनुमान मंदिर
जी।
और जा कहाँ को रहे हैं आप?
अब जा रहे हैं चंद्रवाल को।
अच्छा।
कट्टे भरेंगे मट्टी में, उनको ला के पानी का रोक करेंगे।
अच्छा।
और 3-4 दिन से ऐसे ही लग रहा है जी।
कहीं रास्ते में आपको लगा कि पुलिस आपको रोक रही है या कोई दिक्कत आ रही?
पुलिस तो रोका था, मगर हमने कह दिया कि ये काम के लिए जा रहे हैं।
अच्छा।
कट्टे भर के फांद लगाएंगे उसमें और पानी रोकने के लिए।
अच्छा, तो आप रिलीफ के काम में मतलब मदद करने के उसमें ही जुटे हुए हैं? अच्छा, आप सारे लोग जुटे हुए हैं? अच्छा, तो आप पूरा इन सबको मैनेज कर रहे हैं?
हाँ, कोशिश मैं ही कर रहा हूँ।
All these people have been deployed in the relief work itself. They have informed us about the overall situation.
दिल्ली में जो स्थिति है अब वो बेहद ख़राब होती जा रही है। जो मुख्य सड़कें हैं यमुना के आसपास वो बंद हो रही हैं, उसकी बानगी हम आपको लगातार दिखा रहे हैं। ये रिंग रोड जहां हम मौजूद हैं, हमारी तस्वीर देखकर आप समझ सकते हैं यहाँ जहां हम खड़े हैं पीठ तक पानी है, और जो अगर हम बीच में जाएंगे तो ये पानी का स्तर और बढ़ जाएगा। और मैं आपको ये तस्वीर लगातार दिखा रहा हूँ कि किस तरीके से जो पानी यहाँ पर आ रहा है। विपिन पुजारी जी ज़रा थोड़ा आगे आइए और यहाँ दिखाने की कोशिश कीजिए कि यहाँ पर क्या स्थिति हो गई है। जो पानी का स्तर है, देखिए जो रिंग रोड पर ये जो लेन है, दरअसल ये लेन जब आप ITO से आते हैं और आप जाते हैं पुरानी दिल्ली रेलवे स्टेशन की तरफ, यहाँ पर स्थिति देख लीजिए क्या स्थिति बनी हुई है। और यहाँ कुछ लोग हैं जो यहाँ हम देख रहे हैं सुबह से ही यहाँ नहा रहे हैं, इसको एक तरह से एंजॉय कर रहे हैं। भाई साहब यहाँ पर क्या कर रहे हो आप? हम सुबह से देख रहे हैं, आप जा ही नहीं रहे हो यहाँ से।
भाई साहब पानी का देखो। हाँ। अपना सामान साइड कर गए।
सामान आपका सड़क पर सामान?
हाँ, हम परिवार सोच अपना सामान बचाते हैं।
ऐसा इससे पहले कब देखा था?
अपनी लाइफ का निकल दिया, पहली दफा देखा है।
ऐसी सिचुएशन देखी है, लगातार ये पानी बढ़ रहा है। मैं आपको तस्वीर दिखाऊंगा। अब यहाँ पर पानी देख लीजिए जो इस तरफ है, ये कितना ज़्यादा पानी है और इसका बहाव ऐसा है कि लग रहा है कि यमुना जो है वो यहाँ पर आ गई है।
We are reporting from outside the Nigam Ghat. So on my left is that particular ghat. So you can imagine the plight of the people who are coming here for the funeral as well. And on my right is the road which leads towards the residence of Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. But this is the main road on which we are currently standing, and knee-deep water is something what we can see from this particular place. And in fact, there are many of the commuters as well who are facing the trouble. Many of the vehicles a while back they were also stuck, but no advisory as such has come to light from the government or the administration side, because today is Thursday. In a short while from now we will get to see that the people, the commuters would be moving towards the side of their offices as well. So no advisory has come for those people who would be moving towards their office side as well. And this is the situation that we are showing you from the national capital Delhi, where the water of the river Yamuna has now come inside the capital city. And this is one such stretch which connects the one part of the capital city towards the central side of the city. This is the road which leads towards the ITO side, and further it connects with the central and the Latins part of the New Delhi. So this is the situation right outside the Nigam Ghat. There are many of the people as well who have come here for the funeral. They are also facing the trouble because this part of the road has also been closed. We are currently reporting from the civil lines area, where now we are going to show you that how the big vehicles which were parked here are now submerged in water. These are the visuals which we are showing you from outside one of the Swami Narayan Mandir in the capital city. This is the civil lines area where you can see that even the Creta, Baleno and the Honda City car, they are completely submerged in water. And because of losing their vehicles, the owners of the vehicle, they are also sitting inside the car. Some of them are using their wiper. This is the situation when there is no rainfall in the capital city for last 48 hours. This is the flood-like situation in parts of the city where the water from the river Yamuna is now started entering in at few places in the capital city. And now because of the same, you can see that this is the situation of the national capital Delhi. In fact, the commuters as well, because today is Thursday, many of the people are moving towards the site of the offices as well. So they are facing the trouble, and many of the routes have also been diverted by the Delhi police. But this is the situation, this is the condition of the national capital Delhi, and limited options are available with the concerned department and the government as well. But at the same time, there is crucial meeting of the government which is going to start after a while, where the steps will be decided as to what action need to be taken by the concerned department on the ground zero.
देश की राजधानी में दिल्ली में इस वक्त मैं मौजूद हूं और दिल्ली के भी बेहद पॉश इलाके में इस वक्त मैं मौजूद हूं। इस पानी को देखकर आप ऐसा मत सोच लीजिएगा कि कहीं दूर दराज के किसी गांव से जाकर के बाढ़ की तस्वीर मैं आपको दिखा रही हूं। ये लाल किले की पिछली दीवार आपको मेरे पीछे दिखाई दे रही है। देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों से लोग यहीं पर घूमने के लिए, लाल किला देखने के लिए आते हैं। और इसके अलावा दिल्ली एनसीआर में भी अगर आप रहते होंगे तो इस जगह का रुख आपने कभी न कभी जरूर किया होगा, या लाल किला आप घूमने जरूर आए होंगे। लेकिन अभी स्थिति ये है कि कल तक बात हो रही थी दिल्ली डूब जाएगी, दिल्ली में बाढ़ आ जाएगी, दिल्ली के लोग परेशान हो जाएंगे। पर आप देख लीजिए कि दिल्ली लगभग डूब चुकी है। कुछ जो ऊपरी इलाके हैं वहां तक पानी अभी जरूर नहीं पहुंचा है, लेकिन स्थिति अगर यही रही और बारिश अगर इस पे हो गई, वो भी मूसलाधार बारिश, तो फिर दिल्ली का क्या हाल होगा, क्या हश्र होगा, समझना बहुत मुश्किल नहीं है। ये आगे को जो रास्ता आपको जाता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है, एक तरफ अगर आप लेफ्ट को ले लेंगे तो आपको पुरानी दिल्ली रेलवे स्टेशन मिलेगा, आगे बोर्ड भी लगा आपको दिखाई दे जाएगा। और राइट की तरफ अगर आप मुड़ेंगे तो आईएसबीटी की तरफ रास्ता जा रहा है। ये सबसे व्यस्ततम इलाकों में से एक रास्ते पर इस वक्त मैं मौजूद हूं। और अमूमन जब आपने दिल्ली की बाढ़ देखी होगी तो जो बाहर का इलाका रहता है, या जो ईस्ट दिल्ली का इलाका रहता है, या जो थोड़ा गांव का इलाका रहता है, वो वजीराबाद वाला, या आपको पुराने लोहे के पुल की तरफ का जो गांव रहता है, वहां की तस्वीरें आज के पहले तक आपने दिल्ली की बाढ़ की देखी होगी। लेकिन ये जो रोड की तस्वीर मैं आपको दिखा रही हूँ, ये आप देखिए, कुछ लोग आगे से आपको आते हुए भी दिखाई दे जाएंगे। वो कितना जोखिम भरा हो सकता है आप खुद समझिए। एक गाड़ी आपको आगे, बस जो कि बड़ा व्हीकल जिसे कहा जाता है, वो भी आधा डूबा हुआ आपको दिखाई दे रहा है।
So, well, this is the Yamuna Bazaar area, and in fact, you can see the NDRF officials carrying out the rescue work over here. And in fact, this is the very team which is going inside that very place, because yesterday we reported from the bank of Yamuna Bazaar and we witnessed that the water levels were somewhere, they were not that high, but in fact the boats were already running. But now since yesterday, since the water levels have gone beyond 208 meters, the water has started to come inside this very road, and in fact now the water is approaching towards the road here at Yamuna Bazaar area. In fact, yesterday we reported, and in fact we went all the way there to the opposite side of that very road, behind that very wall. But now, since yesterday, water levels have risen so much that now the water has come to this very spot. And in fact, as per the details, what we're given to understand is that some people are stuck inside, and in fact they were refusing to actually exit this very area because they were not willing to actually leave their belongings. And now the NDRF teams are going inside to actually rescue those people, and in fact to take out those people. Civil lines area and the nearby areas remains to be the worst affected by these floods. Yes, now we can call these floods because the water level have gone beyond the gambit of the danger marks, and in fact this very area was actually not that prone to heavy flooding or heavy waterlogging, but owing to the situation, owing to the continuous rise in the waters, now we are seeing such situations here in civil lines. In fact, water levels, when we actually reached there, the water levels were much lower, but now the water levels have risen, and in fact the bylanes are also submerged under the water. And in fact these bylanes are filled with water. The approximate depth, if I can tell you, of this water is 4 to 5 feet. The water is almost neck deep. In fact, I'll also take you to the other side of this very foot-over bridge, where you can see there are in fact homes and in fact a temple over here, where the people have already evacuated this space because now the water has entered their houses, and that's why they had to leave their belongings and they have to evacuate this very place. In fact, not only this, you can also see there is traffic congestion also in place at civil lines.
Will the water recede soon? Will there be respite soon? That's the question many Delhiites are asking. Unfortunately, neither the Chief Minister's home nor the Secretariat is safe from this kind of waterlogging. There too, we've seen inundation that has taken place across the city of Delhi. We'll keep a track of that and much more here on CNN News 18. Before now, a quick break.
Him across the political spectrum in France also speaks of that relationship. He's meeting the Prime Minister of France, he's meeting the presidents of the Senate, as well as the President of the National Assembly. So, these is the kind of outreach that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is known to do in his foreign events, and we are seeing that also happening in France.
We have our colleague Abhishek Jha and Aman Sharma joining us on this broadcast. Abhishek, so Prime Minister Modi has now left for his visit to France.
Of course, and it is going to be a very important visit, as you mentioned. India and France enjoy 25 years of strategic relationship, and this is kind of this Bastille Day parade celebration is also marking those last 25 years of India-France partnership in many areas of security, defense, intelligence, and encompassing all aspects of bilateral relationship. In fact, and Prime Minister is going to have this rare privilege to be the chief guest, because France normally does not invite foreign leaders every year. We have seen happening in India on the celebration of Republic Day parade. Normally, India invites a foreign dignitary to be the chief guest in that parade, but that's not the case with France. So it is a rarity that France invites foreign leaders for this parade, and Prime Minister Modi has been accorded that privilege. So clearly, this also signifies the kind of importance that France gives to this bilateral relationship. Prime Minister Modi has just returned from USA a few days ago, where we have seen how Prime Minister Modi was accorded a rare state, official state visit, where he was invited in White House as a guest on the dinner by the Biden family. So that also, in a way, highlights how India is being keenly appreciated, and West and USA and entire world is trying to engage with India, cooperate with India, and have a good relationship with India, because of the upcoming challenges that the world is facing, and India can provide a lot of solution in the supply chain domain, if we can say, in the IT service domain. Pharmaceutical is one of the areas where the world has seen recent pandemic, and how the world was short of essential medicine supply, and India was able to scale up its production capacity in a very short span of time, and India did supply a lot of vaccine and essential drugs to US, countries from USA to Caribbean island. So that's the kind of relationship that India has. That's the kind of strength that India had with the entire world, and this is where this political leadership of India comes, which is being appreciated, and the world leaders are trying to engage with India more often.
Right, Abhishek, please stay with us. Also, Aman, now can you throw some light on the significance of this visit of Prime Minister Modi to France?
Well, Anjali, if you see the departure statement, I would point out 2 points that PM has made. First point, he said, I'm going on an official visit at the invitation of my friend, Emmanuel Macron. So the usage of that term, speaks a lot on how the personal equation and the personal chemistry between both the leaders have been there. And also the PM in the department, this visit is particularly special, as I will join President Macron for the French National Day on Bastille Day celebration. So that is also, PM is looking forward to that. It will be the second time that an Indian Prime Minister will be the guest of honor at the Bastille Day celebration. 2009 it was Mr. Manmohan Singh, and now after 14 years it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Also, the term that the PM used in the departure statement is that our relationship is rooted in deep trust and commitment. So this is something that signifies the Indian-France strategic relationship, which marks 25 years this year. So the countries want to take it forward. In fact, the PM says that he wants to work together on regional as well as global issues with the president of France. We know the entire Ukraine war has in a way brought the global issues to center stage, and what stand India has taken on that. A very fine stand on both sides. And PM Modi famous statement that this is not the time for war. This has resonated across the world, and the Ukraine question could also come up for discussions during the Prime Minister visit and his meetings with Mr. Macron and the Prime Minister of France. That is something that the world is closely looking at. Even in the US, when the PM went, this question had come up. Also, I think the point that the Prime Minister has made, that he's looking at holding wide-ranging discussions, that he said this is a long-standing and a time-tested partnership. So, this is based on trust. This is something that, both the countries have worked on very, very closely. And now, if these two defense deals are actually announced during the visit, I think it takes it to the next level. If you're getting more Rafales and more Scorpion submarines from France, and especially through the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, where France commits to co-production and co-design in India, I think that could be a major, major takeaway from this visit and from the conversations that Prime Minister Modi will have with the president. I think also the bipartisanship kind of the welcome which Prime Minister Modi will get in France. The interactions with the French leadership includes with the Prime Minister of France, the presidents of the Senate, the president of the National Assembly. This is similar to his US visit, when both the sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, had welcomed the PM and their leaders had met the Prime Minister. I think the similar thing we'll see in France. So also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when he goes abroad, when he goes to US or when he goes to France, he's not just appealing to the ruling party in France. He's also meeting the political leaders from all sides. So this is something also which is unique about the Prime Minister's abroad visit, and we'll see that playing out in France as well. So majorly, the visit, I think, is focused on providing, a new impetus to the very, very time-tested and strong strategic partnership that India and France have. And we'll see this flowing during the visit through the deals and other agreements which are expected to be announced during the PM's France visit.
All right, Aman, now crossing over to Abhishek. Abhishek, this year's Bastille Day parade is very special for India, as well as the Indian contingent will also be part of the parade. Could you tell us more about it and about the Bastille Day parade too?
Of course, it will be a rare occasion when Indian Pride contingent will be part of that Bastille Day parade. It will be about 269 personnel from our armed forces will be parading with their French counterparts on that Bastille Day parade. There will be Rafales that will be flying with the contingent. We have also just had a visual where Indian ships have been berthed at berth dress, so they'll be having a participation in that National Day parade. So clearly, that these this small contingent that India will be having, that reflects the kind of partnership that France generally wants to have with India. This is the strategic partnership that the two countries have had, and the way India is looking forward to having a more robust relationship with France in the next 25 years. And this is something that Prime Minister Modi is also going to discuss, that how India-France strategic partnership should fare in the next 25 years is something that is very much important, because when we talk about strategic partnership and the kind of technology and the kind of collaboration, area of collaboration, it has to be a very long vision approach, because take example of this civil nuclear deal that France and India had in 2008. Since then, France has been supplying India with a lot of design, operational elements, technology, boiler, fuel. France happens to be one of the largest supplier of enriched uranium to India, and the overall capacity that India has, about 7,000 megawatt that India is currently having. The nuclear capacity, India needs a lot of enriched uranium, and in the wake of sanctions that India has invited from a lot of countries, it was very difficult to have those fuel supply continuously going on, because once the nuclear reactors are shut, to regenerate or to restart them becomes another challenge and a long project.
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. Abhishek and Aman, please stay with us. Now, my colleague Sanjay Suri gets us more details on Prime Minister Modi's France visit. Take a look.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 and I'm Poonam Burde. The countdown has begun for Chandrayaan 3 mission. It's going to lift off tomorrow from Sriharikota at 2:35 p.m. We're all prepared. India is set and the world is watching. If this is successful, we will be only the 4th country to land on the moon, and it's historic in more ways than one. We are going to be seeing the rover actually land on the south side of the lunar surface, something that has never been done before. Of course, the liftoff happens tomorrow. It's only in August when the landing is expected to take place. Take a look at what's expected in this journey to the moon.
Moon. This familiar object in the night sky has inspired the imagination of astronomers and ordinary people alike. From time immemorial, humans have marveled at the beauty of the moon, used it to count time and navigate the high seas. In modern times, Moon, the only natural satellite of the Earth, has acquired added importance due to the belief that Moon is the key to our understanding of the evolution of the solar system in general and Earth in particular. Besides, Moon's precious resources and low gravity have further endeared it to humans. India, a major spacefaring nation, has conducted a detailed exploration of the Moon through its Chandrayaan program. The country has sent 2 robotic spacecraft to orbit the Moon and to take a repeated look at its surface. Chandrayaan-1 demonstrated India's ability to reach the surface of the Moon at a place and time of its choice. And with it, India became the 4th country to reach the surface of the Moon in November 2008. Besides, Chandrayaan-1's conclusive discovery of water on the Moon in 2009 was praised as a path-breaking discovery. The follow-on mission, Chandrayaan-2, had an orbiter, a lander called Vikram, and a rover named Pragyan. In the past 4 years, the orbiter has repeatedly observed the lunar surface and even today is working satisfactorily. Now, 3,900 kilograms Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft is being sent to the Moon with the objective of making yet another focused attempt to slowly land on the lunar surface and to explore it with the help of a rover. Following the spacecraft launched by India's most capable rocket LVM-3, the Chandrayaan-3 lander carrying a rover within it will be carried into an orbit around the Moon by the propulsion module. A little later, the lander will separate from that module and will attempt to make a soft landing in the south polar region of the Moon. This region is of intense interest as it has many permanently shadowed craters which could contain water ice and precious minerals. Chandrayaan-3 lander has 4 scientific instruments or payloads, of which one will study the moonquakes, while the other one studies as to how the surface of the Moon allows heat to flow through it. The third one will study the plasma environment near the Moon's surface. And the 4th instrument will enable scientists to measure the distance between the Earth and Moon very accurately. The 2 instruments on the rover help us study the composition of the Moon's surface using X-rays and laser respectively. While the lander and rover will be in direct contact with each other, the propulsion module circling the Moon will observe the light coming from Earth, the only planet which we know which is definitely teeming with life. This observation will help in understanding the nature of distant planets circling stars other than the Sun. As Chandrayaan-3 undergoes important tests and gears up for launch, thousands of ISRO scientists, including those who will launch it, control it, and receive the precious scientific information from it using giant dish antennas, are readying themselves for the challenging tasks ahead. In the past, their dedication and skill have enabled India to earn praise from across the world and made it proud. Let us wish them well in this great endeavor called Chandrayaan-3.
ISRO is all geared up for this historic liftoff tomorrow. India is watching with bated breath and the world is watching for India to achieve this milestone as far as the space race goes. CNN News 18 spoke with the minister concerned, the Minister for Science and Technology and Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh. Take a look at this exclusive conversation.
Countdown has already begun. What is really going to be a historic event? What is your current state of mind? You're headed to Sriharikota.
Yeah, all of us are on the way to Sriharikota, but I think to put it in a nutshell or in a single sentence, as you said, the countdown, I said, of course, less than 24 hours from now, we are going to have the historic launch. But I'm sure, and I have all the confidence at my command when I say that Chandrayaan 3 is going to herald India's quantum leap in the global arena. And it's going to reiterate India's indigenous capabilities in science, technology, innovation, startups, and also going to establish India once again very firmly as a global player to reckon with.
In terms of logistics and execution and the entire scale of the mission, how different is Chandrayaan 3 from its previous mission?
No, I think, of course, we learn from each mission. We try to make up the pitfalls. Even if there is none, we try to go to the next level. Earlier on also, I will not, unlike in some sections it has been said that Chandrayaan 2 was a failure. It was not, for two reasons. Because being a student of science, we are taught to speak with evidence. Even the other countries, whether it be the USA, USSR, have hardly been able to land successfully for the first time on the system. So from that point of view, our record of our space missions statistically is better than them. Secondly, it was not a failure of landing. In fact, the landing did happen, but the last 12 minutes or so, it didn't go the way we had envisaged. As a result of which, all those outcomes that we had envisaged did not happen to their move on. And from there, we are moving on to the next level tomorrow.
Also, I wanted to understand, after Chandrayaan 3 lands on the south pole of the moon, which is also a historic feat, India being the first country to do that, it's all going to be about that rover, which is going to send us data back. What kind of outcome are we expecting from that mission?
Yeah, see, you have a propulsion module, you have a lander module, and then you have the rover. The rover would not only do in situ experiments, also picks up samples, send findings, and as you rightly mentioned, this is one of the rare occasions we are there on the South Pole, and therefore these inputs will be for the first time. There will be virgin inputs even for countries which had launched themselves several years earlier to us. So we are going to be pioneers from that point of view, from picking up, and also secondly, this mission will also have the capacity to pick up some of the nuances of the planet Earth. Earlier on, we would say in fanciful phrase, looking at moon from moon. Now it is also looking at moon from moon and looking at Earth from moon. So I think this is an extension of the kind of the mission agenda that we had in the earlier missions.
Chandrayaan 2 was partially successful. In fact, it's been 4 years since then. There's been a lot of back and forth, and the government has been proactive in motivating the scientific community. If there is any anecdote that you can share with regards to the whole behind story of Chandrayaan,
I have no hesitation to say this all been possible because of Prime Minister Modi. Prime Minister Modi has not only given a special impetus, he's given dignity and esteem to scientists and scientific experts and their scientific work. Earlier on, it was not like so. I think what we lack, we never lacked human resource in this country. Just look back at the photographs of Vikram Sarabhai carrying the launch vehicle on the carriage of his bicycle. We were so meager in resources, but we had the dreams in our eyes. Prime Minister Modi gave us wings. He gave wings to these dreams of the scientists. He created an enabling milieu. Even in space technology, he unlocked it to the private players. Today we have public-private participation. We have more than 140, 150 startups working in collaboration in history just within 3 years. That has given huge value addition, not only financially, but also talent-wise.
The countdown has begun. It's less than 24 hours to go, and CNN News 18 is going to be your destination when that happens tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in. Before now, it's a wrap from my side here on this edition.
CNN News 18 Town Hall welcomes you to witness an impactful conversation with the newsmakers who matter in India's national capital. Join us on July 17th, 2023 as Nitin Gadkari, Hardeep Puri, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Shashi Tharoor, Manish Tiwari, Sudhanshu Trivedi and Sushmita Dev share their thoughts and views. With less than a year to go for the battle for 2024, which way will India decide? CNN News 18 Town Hall, Roads to 2024 in New Delhi, July 17th.
Because, the when we talk about strategic partnership and the kind of technology and the kind of collaboration, area of collaboration, it has to be a very long vision approach, because take example of this civil nuclear deal that France and India had in 2008. Since then, France has been supplying India with a lot of design, operational elements, technology, boiler, fuel. France happens to be one of the largest supplier of enriched uranium to India, and the overall capacity that India has, about 7,000 megawatt that India is currently having. The nuclear capacity, India needs a lot of enriched uranium, and in the wake of sanctions that India has invited from a lot of countries, it was very difficult to have those, fuel supply continuously going on, because once the nuclear reactors are shut, to regenerate or to restart them becomes another challenge and a long project.
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. Abhishek and Aman, please stay with us. Now, my colleague Sanjay Suri gets us more details on Prime Minister Modi's France visit. Take a look.
Prime Minister Modi's two-day visit to Paris is both ceremonial and substantive. Ceremonially, he will be the chief guest at the Bastille Day parade, and that parade will include an impressive contingent, no doubt, from the Indian military. But more substantively, we are expecting a number of defense agreements to be announced, and these could include more Rafale jets and even agreements towards production of submarines, and all certainly with a carefully worked in made in India element.
This is where the French companies, whether it's Naval or Dassault or Safran, would have to really weigh into the credibility of the partners, be it public or private, more so for private. So I think this is where they have been more careful recently, with better partnerships with companies like Mahindra or Tata.
Following on from the Prime Minister's rather productive visit to the US, the French are coming in with some competitive offers, and whatever the technological or financial agreements, there are clear political advantages to doing business deals and defense deals, particularly with the French. They are the only major power that did not hit India with sanctions after India's nuclear tests in 74 and again 98.
Crossing over to my colleague Aman Sharma. Aman, so how is the mood in France ahead of Prime Minister Modi's visit?
Well, as Sanjay Suri, I think, was telling us that the mood is upbeat, especially amongst the Indian diaspora. And, whenever the PM travels abroad, we have seen that the Indian diaspora event is something that is very, very, keenly awaited by the diaspora there, for Indians to get a chance to see and hear the Prime Minister. And, as some of the diaspora was telling Sanjay there, that, they feel proud to be Indians, abroad. And, Mr. Modi has given that, kind of a enhanced identity, a moment of prestige to them abroad, that they are now seen in a new light. That is something that, and the PM's community event later today evening at the iconic La Siane Musique, where a number of Indian communities expected to be present, could be a keen event. And also the PM makes a very, very important speech at the community events. He speaks about the changing India story, the development India story, how in the last 9 years, the PM Modi, I'm sure, was going to speak about, like he said, in the US, or how India has developed in the last 9 years, put India on the new path. And PM also loves to speak about his 2047 vision for India, the Amrit Kal, and the journey towards a fully developed nation. This is something that also the NRI community, takes a lot of pride in. When they left India maybe a decade back, 2 decades back, they see a different India when they come back now, and they hear these stories of India, of how in the last 9 years India has been put on the development path. So that creates a moment of pride, a moment of euphoria for Indian diaspora abroad. We have seen it in so many countries whenever the Prime Minister has visited. So clearly the mood amongst the Indian community is upbeat. And of course, amongst France, when you see them extending this special gesture of Prime Minister Narendra Modi being the guest of honor at the Bastille Day parade, this itself shows the kind of involvement and the kind of investment that France has also made in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's the relationship with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and India, and the bipartisanship kind of the people who will be meeting him across the political spectrum in France also speaks of that relationship. He's meeting the Prime Minister of France, he's meeting the presidents of the Senate, as well as the President of the National Assembly. So, these is the kind of outreach that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is known to do in his foreign events, and we are seeing that also happening in France.
We have our colleague Abhishek Jha and Aman Sharma joining us on this broadcast. Abhishek, so Prime Minister Modi has now left for his visit to France.
Of course, and it is going to be a very important visit, as you mentioned. India and France enjoy 25 years of strategic relationship, and this is this Bastille Day parade celebration is also marking those last 25 years of India-France partnership in many areas of security, defense, intelligence, and encompassing all aspects of bilateral relationship. In fact. And Prime Minister is going to have this rare privilege to be the chief guest because France normally does not invite foreign leaders every year. We have seen happening in India on the celebration of Republic Day parade. Normally, India invites a foreign dignitary to be the chief guest in that parade, but that's not the case with France. So it is a rarity that France invites foreign leaders for this parade, and Prime Minister Modi has been accorded that privilege. So clearly. This also signifies the kind of importance that France gives to this bilateral relationship. Prime Minister Modi has just returned from USA a few days ago, where we have seen how Prime Minister Modi was accorded as a rare state, official state visit, where he was invited in White House as a guest on the dinner by the Biden family. So that also, in a way, highlights how India is being keenly appreciated, and West and USA and entire world is trying to engage with India, cooperate with India, and have a good relationship with India because of the upcoming challenges that the world is facing, and India can provide a lot of solution in the supply chain domain, if we can say, in the IT service domain. Pharmaceutical is one of the areas where the world has seen recent pandemic and how the world was short of essential medicine supply, and India was able to scale up its production capacity in a very short span of time. And India did supply a lot of vaccine and essential drugs to US, countries from USA to Caribbean island. So that's the kind of relationship that India has. That's the kind of strength that India had with the entire world, and this is where this political leadership of India comes, which is being appreciated, and the world leaders are trying to engage with India more often.
Right, Abhishek, please stay with us. Also, Aman, now can you throw some light on the significance of this visit of Prime Minister Modi to France?
Well, Anjali, if you see the departure statement, I would point out 2 points that PM has made. First point, he said, I'm going on an official visit at the invitation of my friend, Emmanuel Macron. So the usage of that term, speaks a lot on how the personal equation and the personal chemistry between both the leaders have been there. And also the PM in the department, this visit is particularly special as I will join President Macron for the French National Day on Bastille Day celebration. So that is also, PM is looking forward to that. It will be the second time that an Indian Prime Minister will be the guest of honor at the Bastille Day celebration. 2009 it was Mr. Manmohan Singh, and now after 14 years it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Also, the term that the PM used in the departure statement is that our relationship is rooted in deep trust and commitment.
The casinos make a lot of money for some states. They are taxed at a certain rate. Why not these online games too? It's been made to sound that this will be the death knell of the online gaming industry. It will also lead to a lot of job losses.
The point is that elections are happening, like you said, in every state. Why is this bloodshed only in Bengal? And you cannot say Trinamool Congress condemns it and we are sorry and I feel very bad. No, sir. Law and order is your responsibility. You failed.
The law has to operate by what is the prevailing situation on the ground. The law works for the people, not the other way around. So if the prevailing situation on the ground is that of peace, that necessarily has to have a bearing on the law.
Good evening and a warm welcome to this special edition of Viewpoint. I'm Rehatul Siddiqui, and what you see behind me
are various areas of the national capital. These are visuals from very many locations in Delhi that have been reeling under the heavy deluge. Surging water levels in the Yamuna breached a 45-year-old landmark to touch record levels, marooning low-lying neighborhoods in the capital and also sparking massive evacuation effort that also, needless to say, stoked a political controversy. Now, the Yamuna swelled to a staggering 208 meters this morning, inundating nearby streets as well as public and private infrastructure, causing immense hardship to people who are residing close to the river. In fact, large chunks of Delhi, be it the Monastery Market, the Majnu Katila area in North Delhi, Mayur Vihar Phase 1, Geeta Colony in East Delhi, and multiple patches on the Ring Road near Kashmiri Gate in Old Delhi were all inundated. It remains unclear just how big a swathi of the city this new benchmark could really submerge. However, thankfully, there are reports now emerging that there would be no further rise in the Yamuna water levels. But